started by accident because I'm not a basket weaver. I trained as a photographer. I went to a produce place to get some overripe tomatoes to make sauce and encountered like this much of this stuff. And I'm like, you know, like artists, they were like, oh, so much of that stuff. So I asked if I could have some. And the owner, who was a sister of a friend of mine, said, oh God, please take, because even in Vancouver, they couldn't find a place to recycle them. And part of the reason is that things come from everywhere around the world. You know, they get avocados from Brazil, they get, you know, vegetables from China, all over the place. And there's no way to figure out what exactly the straps are made of, because they're not numbered or anything, right? So how do you even begin to sort it? So even there, they couldn't find a recycler. So I went home with a bunch of straps, and I know that these baskets can be made because I got one from a little man in Chinatown here like 30 years ago. And maybe after 10, 12 years, it finally fell apart. And I've been trying to look for him ever since. I said, I'm gonna try and make one. With no training, I went to YouTube and watched about, I don't know, 20, 30 videos and cobbled something together. And it took me about 2 weeks to make my first basket. I went back to the distributor and said, hey, how about if I give you a basket and then you give me your kind of rejects? For distributors are basically like overripe stuff or deformed stuff that stores don't want. And they say, what a trade, right? Free basket. So I did that for a year and got amazing organic food every single week.
Wow.
So I've been making baskets ever since. I think I'm up to like 13 or 1,400 baskets right now.
Wow.
And so I've gotten better. I've gotten a lot better after all that practice. So today, we're gonna start off with making this. You may finish today, you may not. If you don't finish, keep working on it at home and we'll finish next week. And so part of this workshop is that you get 2 kits. One is to make this, and then one to make something about this size, okay? And this is for you to take home and keep going. Now, to keep things simple, all of you are going to use black straps. These are a particular kind of straps that are good for beginners. They're not too stiff, not too flimsy. It's just they slide easily, so easy to work with. So with that, I want to show you the variety of straps. So one question is, people ask is, where do you get your straps? Fucking everywhere. They are just fucking everywhere. You know, and they're just clogging up the waste stream. They cannot be recycled. They either get burned or they just leach into the environment. So I'm going to pass this around, so just take a look. There are super soft ones, thin. There are super stiff ones. Usually these are 2x4s or something like that. And then of course, different colors, different width, different material, different sheen, different textures. So for the super stiff ones, just kind of feel them all. You can collect them all, but there are certain factors that might help you decide what to use with what. So for example, the super stiff ones, really only for the straps that go around, because they cannot be really folded back. Excellent for the top strap for structural integrity and stiffness. The soft ones cannot really go up for this way, but it's fine for around. In fact, I don't have example. I'll show you later when we get more into the making. So let's kind of just look at this basket. We start with making the footprint, which is right here, and then get folded up. So these that work perpendicular to each other, they are called stakes, and some people call them standards. The ones that go around are called weavers. Okay, so I want you to know the terminology. So meaning the stiff ones and the very soft ones should only be used, I recommend that you only use them for the weavers, not for the stakes. So the stakes, they crisscross each other. You see how porous it is on the bottom? Mm-hmm. The reason is that it took me 3 years to figure this out. Because the straps are quite thick. If you make them too tight, there's not enough space to bring the weavers down, right? For challah basket makers, they would find this outrageously offensive. But it's a different material. Challah is very thin, so you can bring it down. It's not possible. The thicker these straps are, the more space you need to leave in between. I like it because they work as great as colanders. Beach baskets, so the sand, you just wash them right out, right? So right here, about 1/4 of an inch in between. So about, like the straps that you will be using today, that's a good width in between. The thinner the strap, the less space you need. The thicker, the more space you need. So there's some that I need to leave like 3/8 of an inch, just because otherwise you can't get them down. Like the ones that Elaine uses, the rubbery ones.
The rubbery white ones.
The ones from China, they're more like rubbery rather than plasticky. You need more space. That's something to remember. Okay, so